All right, in this video, we are going to show you how to add items to the DC20 beta version 0.8 in Foundry, and this is Foundry version 12. Now, Coach just put out a video today about making magic items, and he also on the Patreon has a little PDF on how to make magic items. A lot of people will want to know, how to do it in the system. So I'm here on the, it is the item tab that you want to go into. And when you create an item, you'll see there's actually a lot of different choices because ancestries, backgrounds, classes, and so on. These are all items as well. I mean, not the item that you're trying to look for, but if this is where you would be creating classes and so on. We're not going to get into that part. We're just going to be into the actual, magic items that you're looking for. So some of the items I'll go through. Loot is a very simple item. This is crown, let's say. I'm going to call it a crown. And very, very simple. It doesn't, all it has a description, doesn't do anything. So you can put in here, this is a nice crown. And you can even, for whatever reason, if you wanted to make it bold, I'm not showing you how to use an editor, but that's what it does. This here, you click it to change the image. Now in this tab here, the core data is where you usually want to find your images. It starts in, if you go right back to the root, you want to be in icons. And then from here, you can pick the item that you're looking for. We want a crown, so I'm going to say that's probably equipment on your head, I'm guessing. You see this little image that pops up to the right. It goes away if I put my mouse over it. That's an add-on. That's not in root of Foundry. That add-on is image. All of a sudden I can't find it. Image preview right there. So very simple add-on. Has not been updated for a while, but doesn't matter. Even sometimes gives you a warning that it hasn't been updated for a while. It doesn't matter. All it is shows you the image to the right, because without it, you're guessing. Hey, look, I found crown. So crown blue, there's the item. And honestly, that's it. That's done. You now have, and there's no sense putting a value to it because money doesn't really mean anything to DC20 at this point. But now you have a crown, and you can put it in somebody's inventory. Look at that, loot, done. Now, one thing that's a little interesting, you'll want to know in magic items and so on, there is a little button over here. This is a book. And this book is to identify the item. So let's say it's unidentified. That's really cool, right? Because you want to do that for magic items. Now, there is no identify spell yet in DC20. So, don't know how you would identify it. Maybe attune to it or something. We'll get into that. But the interesting thing is you see here that it says unidentified. If you actually put it in the inventory, it says crown. If you open it up, edit, you open it up, it's an unidentified item, but this part of it tells you what it is. So I'm sure that's not intentional, but just so you know, if you thought, oh, I'm going to unidentify these magic rings and put it on the character's sheet, you're going to get slightly disappointed. All right, so that's a loot item. Very, very simple. So the other items that we could get into is why don't we do tools? So I'm going to make a hammer. This one has an extra tab to it, so a little bit more. I'm going to make it an actual hammer. So not equipment, it's going to be a tool. And I bet you it's going to be a hand tool. And I bet you if I search for hammer, I'll find something. Oh, look at that, perfect. Again, you can put in the scripture. This is a nice hammer. Now the configuration part is this tool. Again, in DC20 there hasn't really been a whole lot into the trade skill part. So this is just how it's built in the software. I'm not saying that this is how the rules work. But if you go in here and go, oh, this is going to help your carpentry roll bonus of 1. I would say +1 hammer of nail hitting. Who knows? So interesting thing, I'll go into my character sheet and see that currently in my trades, I will show it, my carpentry is at a whopping 0. If I put this item in my inventory, and I'm not even equipping it, I'd like to point out it is not equipped, it automatically changed my carpentry. It changed the cartography. You know what? I'll bet you there's a mistake in there. I found a couple of mistakes like that before. Here I am looking at it, is that the lock picking and the leather working were actually backwards in the database. And I think cartography and carpentry is probably the same. Well, we'll get into a little bit later, but terrible thing to look at when you're doing a live video. But whatever tool, so let's actually delete this. Go into edit mode to delete. And let's change it not from, no, I'm sorry, Patrick. It was because I picked cartography. I am the idiot. Carpentry, put it in there. Now the carpentry is up by 1. So there you go. So that's how you do items. You don't even have to equip it. You just create a tool, put what the skill is, put in there, and it's done. By the way, I would love if you could, even if it's not in edit mode, if you could right click on that and to delete it. Going back into this toggle form can be sometimes tedious. All right, so let's create another item. We're making it a little bit complicated more as we go. So we've done tool, we've done loot, weapon. We'll get into a little bit because that's, quite honestly, most of the time I just grab a weapon for the compendium and, upgrade it. We're also going to go into equipment and consumable. Let's do consumable. And I am going to make a potion of mana, because everyone likes mana potions, right? Potion of mana. I will change that to something nice. Consumables, potions, get something nice and blue. That's a nice blue one. That one's nice. Okay, description. This mana, this potion restores to save. Configuration. All right, so the type. Now, none of these things actually do anything, I would like to point out. But it does tell you in the corner of what type it is, but it doesn't actually change the stats of it. Actually, an interesting thing, if you go in the inventory, the only potion that we currently have, the healing potion that's in compendium, it's poison. Be careful, it's poison. Doesn't actually do anything other than changing that little, at this point, maybe it'll change in the future, but right now it's a tag. So these ones here, consume on use, that means if you click it, it disappears. Or sorry, no, it uses a charge. I should point that out. It uses a charge. Delete on 0. This is yes, so if it's a potion, it's gone. You can mark them as reactions. Show quality as resource. This is really interesting. I'll make arrows for you, and I'll show you what that kind of does. So I'll do that afterwards. Roll. So this is, there's no roll on drinking a potion, but this is where you would, do your checks or saves or attacks. Uses cost. I'm going to take drinking a potion takes an action, and I'm going to say it gives back 2 mana. So I'm going to put -2. So it gives back 2 mana when you drink it. The charge is going to be 1 per 1. I'm not going to, if it actually, reset, you could change it in here on a day, full rest, whatever, it'll come back. You can also, if you click this button, put in a custom formula. So at the end of a long rest, it comes back with 1d4 charges or whatnot. You know how it is. That's just much like the D&D version. That's how you would do it in there. So, but this is a potion. We're not going to do that, right? It's not even, it's going to be charges. Once it's done, it's done. Target, again, this doesn't really do anything. But I would like to point out, because I put it in usage cost, if you try to put it on somebody else, you'll just have to manually change their mana, because this mana cost assumes that whoever's drinking it gets the mana back. Enhancements, you can't really add enhancements to mana potion in this advanced section, which we'll get to soon. This is a very interesting section where you can do a lot of neat things. Not easy, but it's a lot of neat things. But well, for a mana potion, it's just, you use it, you get 2 mana back. Real easy, right? So Slaughter doesn't have, he's a commander, he doesn't have mana. But here's Sayland, and he's down to 3 mana. But he has got a potion of mana. So I click on it to use it, uses the action point, brings back 2 points of mana. Done. Now I want to show you an interesting thing you can do with consumables. We are consumable. This one is going to be bolts, let's say. So this is going to be going into weapons. I just think the picture, I know it takes a little bit of extra time, but it's just worth it. Oh, well, I'm just going to use a type of arrow then. How about that? That looks like a bolt to me. So configuration, this is ammunition, and delete at 0, sure, consume on use, yes. Show quality as resource. That's the thing I really wanted to show you, which I think is really neat. Now, none of this stuff actually works. It's just ammunition, right? It doesn't actually do anything. It's in the bow. So now when I have Mr. Slaughter here, and I put bolts in his consumables, and I change it, and see how it went up there immediately as a resource. And I'm going to put in 20 bolts, and it automatically shows up there. That's fantastic. So when you click on bolt, it disappears. And then when it goes all the way to 0, it completely removes. I wouldn't do it this way. I just like to point out, if you really want to track ammunition, I would actually do it directly in the heavy crossbow itself. I would edit it, and I would go into the usage cost here of the heavy crossbow. Give it charges, 20 of 20. And it won't replenish, so, charges. So that means when you use the crossbow, it uses the charge. So, for example, now I have crossbow 20 out of 20. And so if I attack with it, it goes down to 19 to 20. And so on. So that's, if you were going to use ammunition, that's how I would do it. But I just thought it was neat to show you that you can add a resource to that. All right, so let's move on to something else. I can also show you what consumables I've already made for myself. These are the ones that are in the book. Did I make a wand a consumable? Yes, I did. I made it a wand. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a limitation with it, though. So I'm going to put my wand of magic missiles in here. Now, how I made that, see, it's got 3 charges, and then I put the cost. Basically, this is the description of the wand. This is the description of the spell. Configuration wand. I didn't put consume on use. What was I doing? That's silly. But you don't want it to delete at 0, right? You do not want to delete it at 0, because then your wand is gone and it won't recharge. So on the roll here, I just put the actual magic missile check in here because for the spell. So usage cost 1 action point is what I'm assuming what the wand takes. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I got it here. Okay, so usage 3 per 3 put a long rest. Now, it's probably per day. However, I like to point out that whatever you put in this little tab here, it's that or greater when you rest. Okay, so for example, I'm going to put it on short rest for a moment. I'm going to use a charge. It does the check like I said it should. Default, this is what the wand does. I even haven't put the damage for the actual magic missile in there. So now when I do a rest, if I just do a quick rest, it doesn't change. But if I do a short rest, it will, or anything longer than that. So if I do a long rest, oh wait, maybe I should actually use the charge first, eh? I'll use 2 charges. What's it complaining to me about? Cannot use magic missile. Oh, you know what? That's why I didn't that consume on use. Uncheck that. That's why I had it checked off. See? So now it works fine. Okay. So the bed, and if I do a long rest, and now it recharges. So I have it at, the reason why I have it at recharge of long rest instead of daily is that when you have it on daily, and I'll use a couple charges, when you do a long rest, it won't recharge because you could do a long rest and not be a full day. If you do a full rest, then it will count as a full day and recharge. But Usually people are going to make long rests instead of the full, because you only do those full if you're in town for 24 hours kind of thing. So that's why I have it as a long rest. So that's why I have that. Now there's one thing you can't do that I wish you could. In a wand of magic missiles, it says that you can use, instead of using your MP, you put in a charge to be able to, to do these extra damage or extra range. Now in advanced, you can, or sorry, in the enhancements, you can add these things, right? Range, add, but there's no resource for charges, which is too bad. So this is, that way you could, very much like in here, there's the range part, and if you're adding an extra range to do it. But if there was a way to use an extra charge in there, that would have been fantastic. But currently you can't. What other items did I make in there? I mean, I made my own mana potion in here as well. I use a mana wand. Is that a, yeah, okay, so what does that do? Very much like the potion, to be honest. What I did with the mana wand was just code it like that, as you see. Use a resource, get 2 mana back. I have it as consume on use, which, because it only has 1 charge. I don't really have to be honest. We already learned that. So it just takes an mana, put two back, recharges on a long rest. That's just like just like what I just did. So real simple one. Use the mana wand. Oops, I don't have any action points left. Use the mana wand, goes back. I can't use it again. Won't let me because there's no charges. Do a long rest and recharge. Done. So simple. Any other ones I did? Potion of Invisibility, I couldn't get to work. And I'll show you, I'll do it in a ring of invisibility, and I'll show you how I didn't really get it to work properly. But I'll show you my issues with that. Scrolls, same thing. There's no real way. I have learned, though, because a scroll bless, I just put the code in here for bless as much as I could. But you can't actually put the... Like, I tried to put the temporary bless in here. I even went in here and put all the information that you could from bless. You can't, by the way, just copy it from bless. Like if I pop open the actual bless spell. Did I do it? There it is. And I go into the advanced and go into the actual bless part and the effects. Here it's all here, but I can't actually grab it and drag it into the scroll of bless, which is unfortunate because that would be easier. Another thing that I know that other software can do, for example, like to make wands and scrolls, you would take the spell and you would put it in the inventory tab, and it would ask you if you wanted to make a scroll. D&D, it just makes a scroll, and Pathfinder asks if you make a wand or a scroll. But here, when you do that, it just actually puts it directly into spells instead, which he doesn't have. Where was I? Yes, I was saying that I couldn't get the bless working even with that. So a scroll of bless, plunk. Oops, it's in inventory now, right? Well, I have 2 of them now. So now when I target myself and my friend here, Slaughter, and I use it, it does the check like it's supposed to. But the actual effect, I can't really place on it. One of the reasons is because it disappeared as well, by the way. But it can't put the effect. Now, the difference here, too, is the advanced tab. It doesn't have any... let me open up the spell again, and I'll show you. See how this has effect applicable from chat message, right? This doesn't have that option to do it, so you can't really build the scroll in. So if you're building scrolls, quite honestly, what I would do is just make it a consumable that doesn't do anything, that use it, and then allow you to just cast a spell for free. So, for example, let's say I use the scroll, and then I go into my bless, and I just hit the pig to make it for free. I cast the spell. I do really well. And then from here, I can select and click the bless, and it puts the bless on them. Right? So that's how you do the spell, and that's how I would just do scrolls. All right, so we move on to something else. There's equipment and weapons. Weapons, very easy for most part. A lot of the times I honestly just grab a weapon and let's say I'm going to grab a mining pick, put it into my item so I can edit. You can't edit things directly in the compendium. It won't let you, and it shouldn't. So good. Mining pick of might. Yeah, and it's going to be a tougher looking pick. Let me take a look at my picks here. That one's not tougher looking. That looks great. Look at that. Fantastic. So all the pick stuff is here. I'm going to turn into attunement because I want to show you what that does. Other than that, I mean, if you want to make a weapon impact, I mean, you can. Just remember that some of these things actually do things in the software, so you can't just, you know, some of the things just give you the tooltip to know what to do, but impact, guard, these things that actually do something in the software. Guard gives you a passive defense, impact gives you an extra damage if it's over hit, if it's a heavy hit or plus, so just be aware of that. Yeah, I'm not gonna really maybe I'll do an extra point of damage. This one does an extra point of sonic, you know, big booming pick. Cost, no difference. Target, it really doesn't really matter. Enhancements, I'm not going to really add that, but this is the big meat. Now, I talked about this as being a really powerful tool, but this is a mining pick of might, which means one, it should, you know, give you a point in mining, right? Yeah, that's what it should do. So let's add a passive effect. So that's the passive effects are ones that are on all the time. That's why it has the infinity sign. New effect, it says. Now I'm going to edit this new effect. I am going to call it the same thing because otherwise you may get confused of what is this effect on my character. I'm even going to change the icon to the same thing for easier use, so you can just glance at it and know where it's coming from. So this, I bet you, is in... which one is it in? Axes. All right, so axes, pick... And that's that one. There it is. And I'm gonna, what's the description? I'm gonna give it gives +1 mining. We're also gonna do +1 might. I'll show you about that too. I'll put it all in one effect. This one here just transfers effects to actor. So that's good. By the way, if you hit, I do it all the time, because if you're editing an item and you need to save it, so the text of it. But here, if you do it, it just closes it, and then you have to reopen it. So I've done that all day trying to do this. Duration, unimportant. Sorry, but it's not. It doesn't actually do anything yet. So effects, this is the fun part. Now you have to put an attribute key in here to be able to change. How do you find out these keys? Well, Patrick has given me a little bit of list that I'll put it in the description of the video. It's given a list here, system attributes, might, hey, I'm going to be doing that. Skill, language points, you know, stuff like that. So very, very handy. He also has added a bonus field to a lot of the things. So that's the one you kind of adjust to make it a little bit easier. But mining's not on here. How are we going to find mining? Well, one of the easiest, it ain't easy, I won't lie, but one of the best ways to find it is to go through the JSON file of a character. So if you have a character, here's my buddy Sayland. I am in the Actors tab. If I right-click on Sayland and say Export Data, then it'll make a JSON file of his character. Now I've already done that, and I put it over here. So here is the JSON of his character and all the attributes in it. So for example, they all start with system. I'll tell you that right now, they all start with system. So it's going to be system dot, the next database field, what's it going to be? Well, it's not defenses, it's not mystical. And quite honestly, too, sometimes I use a Control F to try to find it. And it's not, you're not going to find mining, but I'll bet you it'll be min, stamina. Oh, we won't do that. How about trades? Bet you it'll be in trade skills. Hey, look at that, trade skills. So it'll be system, trade skills. Now, very important note, this is case sensitive. So you see how we capitalize the S? Make sure you capitalize the S or it won't work. So also this is kind of why I honestly copy paste instead of just typing it in, because I make typos all the time. All right, so now here it is going to be in alphabetical order. Sorry, it'll be in the order of the character sheet, of what's on the character sheet, and this is where I had a mistake where lock picking and leatherworking should be the other way around. Because when I made the lock picks that were in the PDF today, I had about 20 minutes trying to figure out what went wrong there, but these are backwards. But we'll show that in a little bit later. Where is mining? Wait, is there even a mining skill? Am I just chasing skills, trade skills? There's no mining. And here I'm looking for something that doesn't exist. Excellent. So I'm going to call it, it'll be masonry instead. So the masonry is 0. So masonry, I bet you, is MAS. Look at that. Here it is, MAS. So it details MAS. And as I said, Patrick has put in a bonus that that's the one you should be changing. It's coded that way to be used. So bonus. And I'm going to add 1. Then I'm going to add the might one. And I could look it up just the way I just did as well. But luckily, Patrick gave me a little cheat sheet, so to speak. And attribute might, well, it's going to be attributes. Dot might, what was it? MIG? MIG bonuses. And then he didn't have a, like, it's what particular bonus, because it could be ability checks, ability saves, or the value itself, right? So I'm going to put might here, dot bonuses, dot value, I think is what you said, right? See what happens when I don't do copy paste and type. I get it wrong, value. So we're going to add 1 to that. But nobody knows that this is a cursed item. That cursed item gives you a minus when you're int. So I'm totally going to copy this, Control C, add this, put it in there, change that to int, and add -1. Submit changes. Okay, so now we have a mining pick of might. I'm going to open up Slaughter here. Sergeant Slaughter, of course. Don't copyright me. Mining pick of might. I put it in here. It does not change the stats. Go out of edit mode here. If I equip it, it won't change the stats. Why? Because it needs to be attuned. Remember that? So this little hat right here of attunement. So if I tune it, it goes yellow. Again, doesn't change the stats because you have to attune it and equip it. And look at that. It changed my might. It changed my intelligence. It changed all the things that need for that. And also in my little trade skills down here, didn't we call it, what do we call it again? Masonry. It added to 4. So if I unattune or unequip, it goes away, and then my masonry has gone down back down to 2. It went up 2, I'd like to point out, because this is a might skill. Our might went up, so of course masonry went up, and then it added another point into masonry. One important note, I know that Coach was saying in the video today that it'll take X amount of attunements, for example, like attunement slots, or an item may take more than 1 attunement. Currently, that's not in the software. It's either you require attunement or you don't. That's it for that. So it might come in the future, but I mean, a lot of times he's kind of making this up as he goes, so to speak. I mean, it's not that haphazard, but he does, you know, it's in development. So some of these things, you know, we don't know while we're making the software to see what's going to happen with it. All right, let's go back and look at some of the items that I have already made. I'll give the equipment stuff later, but Hammer of Doom. These special abilities, quite honestly, couldn't really do any of these abilities. Target can't regain hit points. There's no effect for that. Unmitigated to bypass resistance. Currently, there's nothing that I know of that can bypass that. An extra 2 true damage on a crit. I wish we could. Unfortunately, it's not. I mean, hopefully something will happen. This is the crit threshold, so if you turn it to a 19 or 18, it gets that number higher to crit, but there's no, like, extra crit damage yet, but I'm sure they could be. Hammer of throwing. I think all I did was put throwing and returning on it. There's a returning tab. Again, it doesn't do anything, right? There's no mechanical part of the returning, but we just put it on there for the tag purposes. And then other than that, because I removed toss and add thrown for this hammer of throwing. Any other items you turn, returning dagger, honestly, all I did was put returning on it. Sword of Olympus. I wish, remember this big description. I even bother to put the description. It's so much. But it did an extra, if I remember right, it did an extra radiant damage. Or no, it just did radiant damage. That was it. So nothing too exciting for those ones that were created. I would like to point out, though, there is a wonderful, I know I showed it on a different video, but the custom weapons are in here. That's if you make a weapon, and then there's this open weapon creator thing where you can make the weapon, just like the 0.8 rules. And even keeps track of, you put it on and adds the effects of it. I did put a little more detail before, but actually, why don't I just do it here? If you guys are looking for creating items, you're not going to look at a video for how to make a PC. So I'm going to make I think last time I made a trident, so let's make a main gauche. Yeah, main gauche. Okay, and I bet you if I go into the picture here, I could probably find it. Is there daggers? Daggers. Is there a main gauche in here? No, that's too bad. But it's a little sticky dagger with a good hilt, a guard hilt. Yeah, it's not what I want. Oh, that one might be a little better. I like that one better. This is like a jack. So it's melee. It is technically a sword, right? And it would be piercing. And it'll definitely have guard. And what else would it have? Not versatile. I guess you could toss it. I'm going to say it's concealable. So that gives you advantage on the first attack. That makes sense. So there we go. I have created a main gauche. You don't even need to set this stuff up. It automatically puts everything that's needed in here, which is great. So now if my Sergeant Slaughter has a... it wouldn't be him, let's face it. It would be my Bard. Because he's got a rapier in one hand, so why wouldn't he have... I'll unequip the hand crossbow. But why wouldn't he have a main gauche in the other? Where did I put it? Did I lose my main gauche? There it is. I'll put it somewhere. Put it in here. I equip it. Changes the PD automatically. And there we go. I have my fancy main gauche. Oh, I have Bless on. That's why I'd add the extra D4. Yeah, there's the D4 from Bless that I have on. All right, we made a weapon. Delete that. Now, we should also go into equipment. Equipment is things that you put on and it does stuff, which is all cool. Sounds simple, right? Like, for example, the Master Thief lockpick. I didn't make it a tool, and the reason why is because the tool is really simple, right? You couldn't do a lot of customization. So for this one, I made it a trinket, because equipment type, light armor, heavy armor, so on. So I made this one a trinket. Equipment is something that you would put on. I didn't make anything out of the usage, because none of that stuff really mattered for Master Thief lockpick. What it was is right here in the advanced part, and this is where I put the effects, because you can put more than one effect. It gave you a stealth bonus. I happen to find that it is STE. And again, this is where I found the mistake. I put in leatherworking, because that is actually lockpicking for currently in the database. So in inventory, I'll put Master Thief. I will equip it. And then now, you never saw it before, so that was silly. His stealth now 6, but you wouldn't see it was before because I could be lying. And his lockpicking is 6. So if I unequip it, then you'll see that his stealth is 4, and his lockpicking, no, it's leatherworking, lockpicking is 4. So works as intended. Goggles of dark vision. Now this one also works great. What I did for that is clothing, marked as clothing. So I didn't use any usage cost because it didn't do anything. It's just the advanced tab, goggles of dark vision. I made it the effect be system vision, dark vision bonus, add 10. Now, technically in the details, it says you gain 10 spaces of dark vision, and also if you already have it, you add 5. I don't know how to do that. I won't lie. I don't know how to do an or statement for effects. I really don't. Maybe there is a way and I don't know about it, but so I've just made it add 10. So now if I put my goggles of dark vision in my inventory, currently if I go over here, I have dark vision 0. I equip it. It has dark vision 10. As a reminder, that doesn't change your token, right? You have to actually go into your token and your vision to change that, because what goes on down here does not change your actual token vision in Foundry. Very important to know. And if you already have dark vision, I'm going to use one of my player's characters from my Sunday night game. As he has dark vision of 10, I will put in his inventory the goggles of dark vision, equip it, get out of edit mode, equip it, and then now it's dark vision 20. Again, does not change it in here. See, the vision is still at 10. You would have to manually change that. All right, I'll delete the dark vision goggles because he's going to come back. And why is my vision so good? Necklace of perfect health. What did I change in here? The effects were system bonus, health bonus, add, and then poison immunity upgrade to 1. So that means if somebody is wearing this, currently his health is at 11. I put the necklace in, I equip it, the health goes up to 17. It doesn't change like the current health, and I don't know if it should. I was messing around with that, but if you equip it, unequip it over and over again, then this health number will kind of go crazy. And then it also adds now in my conditions. This is way too long. Let me shrink all these. Shrink. It added poisoned immunity, right? So and that's the condition, not the damage. Condition immunity. I remove it. There goes the health. And there is no more condition immunity for that. What else I got in here? Hammer, goggles, boots of the spider. I just, for that one, it does, technically it doesn't give you a climb speed the way it's written, but I'm saying it does, damn it. So I went in here and put in effects and I added a system movement climbing bonus, add 5. So when I put these boots on Mr. Slaughter, and I equip them down here, you'll see that movement. Oh, that's medium. Up here, movement climbing speed has changed to 5. So that's how you do those. Is there anything? Oh, what I did was for my own magic items. I made a mana wand. Already did that one. A rod of tremor sense. This is one is if you hold on to it, you get tremor sense. So right now, in my vision, I do not have tremor sense. I put a rod of tremor sense in here, and it is a tuned item. So I have to be both attuned and equipped, and now I have tremor sense 3. How did I do that? Again, I'll edit. It's in the code here in the advanced, and system vision tremor sense bonus. I also made a staff, withered staff. I just grabbed it. It's funny. I grabbed just a quarter staff and I worked my way. And that's when I also noticed quarter staffs. I don't know. I don't think this is intent. I haven't looked it up, but I'm fairly certain quarter staffs should not do piercing damage unless it's a really sharp, pointy quarterstaff. But there's going to be a couple of mistakes. I mean, one guy is doing this all. Thank you very much, Patrick. So there's going to be mistakes, and that's our job to find them and report them. So this one, attunement on it, and the advancement part, I said system resource mana bonus add 3. So now currently his mana is 6. I have to get out of edit mode, equip it, and attune to it, and then it increases the mana. Same thing with the health. Doesn't boost the mana you currently have, but again, I don't know if that's something you want. One last thing I'm going to show you is something I could not figure out. So maybe someone smarter than me can tell me how it works, because I'm going to put a ring of invisibility on. Now, I put this ring as a trinket. What I did under the advanced section was I put it in temporary, and I put the status conditions, because you can find a condition here, right, of all the different conditions. And I made it invisible, because if you add like restrained, it adds it to here, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to add invisible. And that's how I did it, but this is, I'm going to show you some weird effects of what happens when I do that. One, I'm going to remove his bless for a moment. I really wish you could right click and delete. Anyway, let's put that back. So right now, visibility condition is off, right? There's two ways of getting your conditions, right? By clicking it on and off here. Also, if you right click your icon, go into assign status effects, it'll be in here as well. And this actually works too, by the way. So if here is invisible and here comes Travik, can't see him. I haven't selected, he can't see him. So that's how conditions work. Now let's see what happens when I put this ring of invisibility on. If I put it in the inventory, it highlights it here. It has not turned him invisible, but it highlights him there. Now, if I go in here and equip the ring, nothing. Why? Because I don't have it attuned. So attune and equip the ring, he goes invisible. So you can't see it. Works good, right? And then if I unequip the ring, he becomes visible. But all during this time, this is still turned on. If I click on it again to remove it, this invisibility no longer works. So I have to actually delete the ring, put it back in my inventory again to be able to put this oddly temporary condition on. So then when I equip it and unequip it, it works. Also, if I go into the right, same thing, if I go on the right click, it doesn't show up that it's done here, just like how in the tab it does show that it's on, right? And here it doesn't, but I'm going to unequip the dagger ring again. It's not there. It is there, but if I use this to toggle it to turn it off, the ring now no longer works. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. If I am, put it in my comments. And that's it. So I hope this one didn't go too long, but that should be able to help you to make some magic items. All right. Thank you very much for watching.